Hi friends, in this video tutorial I will explain the concept of how to configure Vlan trunk protocol. Let's see the scenario. Here I will use 3 switch. The first switch is server switch. In server switch we can connect 2 client switches. In first client we can create VLAN 10, VLAN 30. In second client also we can create VLAN 10 and VLAN 30. Here I will use the IP address 200.200.200.0. In LAN I will assign the subnet mask as 29. That can be written as 255.255.255.248. 248 can be calculated as 128 plus 64 plus 32 plus 16 plus 8. The last value we can add it as 8. So each local area network we can assign 8 IP address. Now we can configure the server switch. Enable. We can create this switch as an VTP mode server. So go to the global mode, configure, terminal. In short form we can written as conft VTP space. The syntax for create this switch as an server is VTP mode space server. So the device mode already VTP server because all Cisco Catalyst switch default is VTP server mode. So I will create VTP mode server. Next I will give domain name VTP space domain name VTP space domain space. I will give domain as cisco.com. The VTP domain name can be created. We can check the VTP configuration. Go to the privilege mode, exit. The syntax for verifying the VTP configuration is show VTP status. Here we can see VTP version 2. So the configuration revision is 0. The VTP operating mode is server and VTP domain name is cisco.com. Okay, now this both switch can be created as a client. First of all I will go to the client switch A, enable, configure terminal, VTP mode. This switch can be created as a client. So syntax for creating this switch as a client is VTP mode space client. The switch can be created as a VTP mode client. Next I will assign the domain name VTP space domain. If the domain name is mismatched means it cannot be changes, it cannot be any updates from the server switch. So in server switch I will give VTP domain as cisco.com. So in client switch also we can give VTP domain as cisco.com. Now this switch can be created as a client and domain name assigned as a cisco.com. Next client switch B we can configure, enable, configure terminal. So this switch can be created as a client switch. So the syntax for creating this switch as a VTP space mode client. The switch can be created as a client switch. Then we can assign the domain name VTP space domain cisco.com. Okay, in server switch I will create VLAN 10 and 30. Configure terminal, VLAN 10. VLAN and VLAN ID is 10. The name of the VLAN is name space IT department, exit. VLAN ID is 30. The name of the VLAN is CSC department, exit. Now two VLANs can be created in server switch that can be updated to the client switch. We no need to create again VLAN 10 and 30 to the client switches because it can be advertises to the client switch. Here we can give this port as a trunk port because VLAN 1 is a native VLAN. So that VLAN is an untagged frame, so without trunk protocol it automatically advertise the information, but VLAN 10 and 30 is not an active VLAN, it is an tag frame. So this port fast Ethernet 0/3 and fast Ethernet 0/5, this both ports are assigned as a trunk port, then only the advertisement came from the server switch. I will go to the, so the syntax for assigning that port as an trunk is interface fast Ethernet 0/3 switch port more trunk exit. Interface fast Ethernet 0/5 switch port more trunk exit. Okay, now the interface is booting up. Yeah, we can check the configuration whether the VLAN can be automatically updated from server to client or not. Exit. So go to privilege mode, check show VLAN. We can see here VLAN 10 and CAC can be updated from VTP server mode. We can check this switch, show VLAN. Here also we can see we can update it from the server switch VLAN 10 and 30.